All of us in Alarm Will Sound have been so excited about gathering for our first ever remote real-time performance. I got to speak with Meredith Monk beforehand about the piece that she wrote for us for the occasion. One particular facet of what you've done in this piece that we're doing of yours, which is um, made peace with or welcomed in the realities of video chat.
So the way I was thinking about was Zoom, where the delay, where there is so much delay. And so I was not able to, think in terms of let's make a new piece with this technology, because I was really working on Anthem. But the irony, so that piece already had delays built in. I already had delays built in, which is the strangest thing. And I remember saying to you, oh, I think that we can work with this, because certainly at the end of the piece, everyone is on their own time trajectory. And the piece is very much about the relativity of time. Really, it starts with a linear kind of progression, very simple progression that gets a little thicker and thicker. And then at a certain point, it starts turning into a more cyclical kind of sense of time. But with everyone together in this big, you could say in this big globe, but at the same time on their own time trajectory. Because Anthem is really about, kind of a utopian idea of what if there were no boundaries, no country boundaries or borders, and we think about the whole planet, and we're singing, not necessarily this piece, but I mean an abstract kind of anthem as common citizens of this planet. Like, I think of it as kind of a prayer for the continuation of the planet, and for us also seeing this sense of interdependence, that anything that I do is going to affect everything else. Anything that you do is going to affect anything else. And we're not clones. It's like each one of us as individuals, but then we all are part of this much larger whole, and we're connected. We're connected to each other, but we're also connected to other realms. Other realms on the earth, and other, you could say other realms in the universe. And the perspective is something to really think about. How small we are and how big we are. How big we are as individuals and how small we are. And I always think of the end of Anthem as being a kind of zoom lens, going like we're zooming back, and all those time trajectories or the sound trajectories are just like dissolving into space, and the planet gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, 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 smaller. That's the sense that I have of the piece. I don't really think there's any way that we can be people alive now and not be very concerned with the planet. That just seems fundamental.
Yeah.
And so I just keep on feeling, not to try to be pretentious about it, but just keep on doing work that has that awareness, and do the best I can. I like to send through music some kind of sense of that awareness, and also antidote to some of the, what would I say, the upheaval and, the unrest that we're all living with.
Can you say a little more about how the music embodies or expresses this interdependence?
You really are hearing, the relationship of one person to another. So we're very connected, even if we're just the way we are in our lives. We're in our own life trajectories, but there's this underlying sense of connection, and also underlying sense of change.
And there is that sense in the piece of each individual part being its own sort of, little world of itself. They're all sort of looping at their own rates. And then, right, there is this sense of a larger, like, cosmos that we're a part of, which is also changing over the course of the piece. And we're all somehow a part of that while we're each doing our own thing.
Exactly. And it's a very meditative piece, I think, to perform.
That's also, I think, part of what's been really lovely about it for us. This has been a really important project for us, because it's the first time that we as a group have come together, in real time since the pandemic hit. And it's very strange. It's a very strange and new experience to be, together yet not together. And I think your piece has been for us the perfect experience of that, because it is also a piece that is about independence but togetherness. And it's also, it is, as you said, it's a very meditative experience. And you were really worried at the beginning that the music, it would be sort of not hard enough for us, that we would want something that had more notes or more.
I love that Matt said, I love my part. I said, yeah, it's one note. That made me feel so good because I just was worried because they are virtuosi. Each strand might seem simple, but then when you put them together, it's very complex how it goes together.
How does that not togetherness of the parts, how does that reflect the idea of the piece?
In this world that we're living in, how interesting it is to have something that's very steady. So that's, your part. And then amidst kind of chaos, you could say. In this sense, it's positive chaos. but just that sense of, something that's very healing. I think of music right now in this world as being a healing element. I really do.
Is there a particular thing that is healing for you about these different individual loops that are not quite aligned in the way you might expect they would be?
I think the healing thing is for us all to realize, I'm not trying to be like a doctor or a messenger or anything, but somehow to pull back a little bit, and to realize that our individual, our concerns in our lives are very important, but we are only one part of a whole, and each part is different.
I mean, the thing that I see in the piece is the piece is open to things not being quite together. It's okay with things not being quite together. And something you said to me when we were first talking about it that I really loved is that the piece expresses an idea that it's okay. Like, we cannot be quite together and still the world moves forward. It's not music where we're each totally doing our own thing, nor is it music where we're all like exactly locked in. It's this sort of very organic, loosely together thing in between where we're all just sort of rolling forward together in a sort of generally together, but not controlled together sort of way.
I think it also has a sense of present and past in it. Some kind of sense where it rolls back.
Yeah, there's memory. There's a feeling of we're going forward, but also we're remembering. We're remembering the past.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for writing this for us, Meredith. It is so beautiful, and it's been such a lovely way to have our first video chat variations experience of creating music together in this new online world.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. It's been amazing, and I hope that we can play it some more.
Me too. Online and in the real world too, maybe.
Yeah, because just to see these people in the same room would be such a joy.
And also, what's really interesting is that the experience of having done the piece online will make us play it really differently whenever we get to play it in person. And I think a more interesting piece, I think this whole experience of doing this online has opened up other possibilities for how to play it that we'll take into the together in flesh world when we actually get to play the piece that way.
We will.
I'm excited to go perform this with you, Meredith.
Thank you, Alan, so much. I appreciate it so much.